Flosstube, this is Gem Stitch here for my January 2019 update. Thank you to everybody that watches, subscribes, and if you're a new subscriber, hello and welcome. This is the start of a brand new year, so Happy New Year to everybody. And with that, a start of a different rotation for me. I'm going to talk more about that in another video, and talk about the rotation that I used to work to and this new rotation, just to maybe, I know some people like the idea of finding ways to work through their whips or to bring in new whips and to change things round. So I think that would be better placed in another video where I could talk more in depth. This one, however, is just to talk about what I'm currently working on and what I will be working on in January and February. In brief, the idea being that I'm working seasonally now. I tend to work on my works in progress seasonally, or in the genre that I feel that they fit in. That is kind of my new rotation. I don't want to go too much in depth about that. I want this video to mainly be showing you and talking to you about what I'm actually working on. So let's get started and straight to it. I do apologise, I've got a nice snuffly cold. It's January and I call it the office cold. So I had an impromptu day off today. I actually was going to go into work, but I've ended up with an impromptu day off, so I'm actually going to do this and then I'm going to get in my pyjamas and my dressing gown and stitch the rest of the day away, because I shouldn't have been here anyway, so I'll have to fill it with stitching time. Anyway, straight to what we'll be working on. So, to be honest, I don't know what I showed you in my last video, really. Can't remember 100%. So I'll show you what I know I worked on and what I have achieved, and any plans or goals related to that. So firstly, I did work on the Mill Hill Magi trilogy. So this is should have been done on perforated paper. It's a trilogy. Excuse me. It's a trilogy that Mill Hill did of the Three Wise Men. I had already completed, and I showed you Balthazar, which is here. And he's stitched on 28 count, even weave, hand dyed by Sparklies in the colourway Moonlighting. So there he is, and he was really lovely. And my plan of action was to get the other two stitched around Christmas time. I didn't expect to get them fully finished, but to know that I'd completed the series. If you've listened to some of my other videos, that seems to be a bit more of a focus for me at the moment, is to, if I start a series, is to get sort of soldier on and get those started and finished. So then the next one was Gaspar. So I finished him in December. And again, they're all on the same fabric. So this is 28 count Moonlighting, an even weave, hand dyed by Sparklies. And at the weekend I managed to finish Melchior. So they're all finished. I would have liked to have had them done before Christmas, but I'm just happy that they're all completed and ready to finish. My idea for finishing is, I think I'm going to turn them into flat folds. So I will be watching Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher. I will be watching her video on how to make a flat fold. If you haven't checked any of her videos out, they're really informative. They're very, very good in regards to making stockings, pillows, flat folds. They're a good source of information, so I highly recommend that you go check out Vonna Pfeiffer, the Twisted Stitcher, because that's what I'll be doing for those 3 flat folds as Christmas ornaments. Other things that I know I completed but maybe didn't show in 2018 was this one. This is a Bowl Full of Scaries 1 by Plum Street Sampler. Now this, I didn't bring the pattern with me, but this had a snake that went all the way around, and I believe in my last video I was talking to you that I wasn't 100% sure about the snake, and I was going to see how I felt, and I left the snake off. I wasn't convinced by Mr. Snake, so this will be turned into a pillow, a decorative pillow. So that was completed last year, and what I tend to do, because I know that they a lot of primitive patterns actually play around with dates and things, is that I'm not concerned what the first 2 digits are, but I always change the last 2 digits to the actual year that I stitched this. So obviously that says 1618. It does, doesn't it? Yeah. It's backwards. So this is on a piece of 32 count Belfast, and this was hand dyed by me. And all the threads are the recommended threads on this one as well, and it was 2/2. So that's a finish. I also managed to finish a Christmas sampler stocking, and this was in a magazine, Antique and Needlework Quarterly. I will leave all the information to any patterns that I'm showing in the information box down below. So where this comes up with my Flosstube video, there should be a little triangle. If you facing downwards, click on that and it will expand the information, and I try and put all the information in there. If you're watching this video and it's only been uploaded very recently, then give me a little bit of time to add that information, but it will be there eventually. If you've got any questions though, please do ask. So going back to the sampler, this is from the Antique and Needlework Quarterly magazine. I have the DVDs, and my plan of action is to try and work my way through the DVDs, picking out patterns that I actually really like, so that I'm getting use out of my digital magazine subscriptions, or not a subscription in this case, but purchase. So this is the finished stocking. So this was the Christmas sampler stocking. This was, I believe, in volume 3. I believe, but I will put that information down below. And this does include some speciality stitches. Now this is stitched on, I don't know if it, oh yeah, a little bit. This is stitched on 32 count raw gold fleck. So it's actually a gold fleck in that. And it includes satin stitches, rice stitch, this is the Montenegrin stitch, eyelets, trying to see, there's some 1/1 stitching, which was the words. I will say I did struggle with this. 1/1 on 32 count is not easy on the eye, but is doable, and I have done it before, often with my Nora Corbett fairies with the skin. But I don't know whether it was because this has got, it's an opalescent, that I did struggle with this a little bit more, so it took me quite a long time to actually get through the lettering on this. Although there's not an awful lot and the lettering is actually quite simple, it took me a long time to get through it because I had to keep taking breaks on my eyes. I have got magnifiers, but even so. But I did complete this in 2018. I really like the angel, and she's got some satin stitches here, and her wings are just larger cross stitches. over 4. So that will be being turned into a stocking. They're going to be decorative stockings. I don't intend to use them at all in regards to people's names or anything like that. But I'm pleased with it. So that was a nice finish. Either just before Christmas or just after, but I know it was before New Year, obviously because I put 2018 on it. So, but yeah, so that's my finishes. Probably should move them over here, sorry. That's my finishes for 2018. I do have more. I know that there's a year in review videos and I normally do them. That's not my plan today. So maybe if I can get myself sorted, I'll try to do that, but not today. So the next thing that I've been working on is a stitch along by Priscilla and Chelsea. This is actually a very old stitch along. It's not their newest one, but I've gone back to it to get it completed. My intention for this is to turn it into a sofa cushion or a bed cushion, and that will be the Country Cottage Needleworks Forest Snowfall. I'm sure you've seen this pattern now. And I am nearly complete. As I said, it's obviously larger because I intend to turn it into a cushion. Similar to what I did with my Dorothy's Discovery by Silver Creek Samplers and Pumpkin Hollow Farm by Little House Needleworks. So I did make some changes to the spelling to turn it into the English spelling. But yeah, I'm nearly there. I've just got I think there's some snowflakes and this border at the top with snowflakes. So I work on this and it's like chipping away at it. No, it's not a problem. I enjoy working on it. Oh, sorry, the fabric. This fabric is a Zweigart fabric. It's 25 count, so I'm stitching 3/2, and it's in the colourway pewter. So it's a light grey, dove grey type colour. I will put the threads that I've used in the information box down below. I didn't use the recommended threads because a lot of them are hand dyed. And as I'm going to be using this as a sofa cushion, I wanted to have a bit more flexibility. I don't really want to wash it, but I wanted a bit more flexibility into being able to wash it. So that's why I haven't used any hand dyes on that. It's all DMC and DMC variegated. So the next thing that I worked on was, I suppose, my New Year, New Start. I've got several new starts that are going to be happening coming up shortly, and one of which I would like your help with as well. So, but this is my New Year, New Start. This was going back to the Antique and Needlework Quarterly magazine. And I've got a terrible picture printed. So yes, this is called the 2 Pairs Stocking Sampler and Antique Needlework Volume 14. And this is what it will look like. And this design was designed by Phyllis Hoffman. There's 3 of these stockings designed by Phyllis Hoffman. This is the 2 pairs. There's strawberries and there's pomegranates, and I intend to stitch all 3. And I think the way it works, because like I do it by year, because they come out quarterly, so I do it by year. So if, I think that was 1993, then this will be 94, the next one will be 95, and the next one will be 96. But I will put the information down below. I'm stitching all the colours as required that was charted for, but I am missing one colour at the moment, so which is why there's going to be a bit of an odd shape to this one. So these are the colours. There's some beautiful, look at the greens and blues and some brighter colours there. And as we all know, it's quite difficult even in today's day and age to actually take really good pictures of needlework, but as you'll see shortly, as far as colours are concerned, this is quite off of colour. So, because that definitely looks very brown, whereas actually the colour that it's charted for you can see is very green. So this is on 32 count flax. This is fastly becoming my favourite plain fabric, or the colourway. So it's not necessarily that it's 32 count flax, it's flax itself. And I ended up purchasing, I already had some 35 and I've ended up purchasing some 40 as well, because I just like it as a neutral. It's similar to platinum but a little bit more rusticy. I mean, not massively, but a bit more rusticy. So I really like it. So that's the colour that I'm missing, is why there's no letters there, and this pair needs to be filled in with a darker colour as well. But there's some speciality stitches here as well. You've got some diamond eyelets and some faggot stitch, which was the first time I'd done that in this band here. This is just long armed cross stitch. And then these are like woven stitch, half woven stitch. So yes, that will fit on there quite nicely. So this is a fat eighth. So it looks like I've come over one side, but bear in mind the toe has to come in as well. So that was my New Year, New Start, and I'll be working on that as part of my sampler segment. Just to show you what it looks like again. They do give you an alphabet to personalise it, but I'm actually, like I said, I don't necessarily, if I'm going to stitch stockings for people, I like them to represent the people, and I like these because I like these aesthetically. It's much more of an aesthetic thing, so I'm not going to put people's names on them. I'm just going to put things like I might put 2 pairs or just pairs or something up on there, and then do strawberry on the other one and pomegranate on the other. But yes, I'm really enjoying that. And it gets some practice in with some speciality stitches, so I'll do a bit up close. They need it possibly where it's been folded up. But yeah, it looks a bit like a malformed pair at the moment, but when that darker shade comes in, it will look a bit better. And the inside of here has chain stitch, so I'm doing the outline first and then I can chain stitch in the inside. But the instructions are very good, and especially now online you can get instructions on YouTube or even written diagrams. There's also very good books as well. There's not many things you can't find out on how to do now. But yeah, so that's the colourway, and that's my sampler segment. The next one was a new start this year as well. And this is a segment that I'm calling miscellaneous. Basically, the miscellaneous is, it could be anything. It doesn't have to fit a criteria. It's whatever I want to stitch on. So this is the colourways. I don't know if you can see up against my white top, maybe. I love, this is what intrigued me with this chart. I love these colourways, based on the principle that this is the sort of colourway that I decorate my house with. I really like them. So it intrigued me in this chart. And the chart I'm talking about is My Mother's House by Kathy Barrack. This is the first time I've stitched Kathy Barrack, and it's very clear when I'm not pulling it all out. It's very clear. Now she recommends that you stitch in DMC, so that is exactly what I'm doing, stitching the DMC. So My Mother's House. And these are left open so that you can personalise them, which I will be doing with my side of the family's female side initials and things. I thought that would be nice. So I'm stitching this on 32 count 2/2. I've chosen to stitch it on a hand-dyed fabric. So this is Dr. Smith's Tonic by Sparklies. So it's a 32 count Belfast. That's looking very dark, but it's got more colour than that. I mean, it is a darker piece, but so there's where I'm at with that. I was a little concerned, I've got to be honest, on this lighter colour. Let's have a look. Being on this fabric. But actually, the use of this lighter colour is generally outlined with a darker, so it'll be absolutely fine. You'll be able to see it. But yeah. So this is My Mother's House by Kathy Barrack, and this is what I'm calling my miscellaneous piece. So that's my focus piece for that. These, should you be interested, you can't see this, that's a typo. They are online. I'm not sure if they're available in any other countries. They might be a brand in another country. I happened to see this in a shopping centre, typo the shop, and they had these in the sale, and I just thought, well, quick and easy project bag. So I picked them up. I do know, I did check, and they have got an online shop and as well, and they did do some of these. It says A4 document holder, they call them. I don't know whether you'd be able to get them in this particular one, but if you was interested, they're £6. So they make good project bags. I picked up another one as well. So for £6, eventually I'll get round to making some more of my own, but I've got so much finishing to do and getting the project bags done and things. I don't want to it's easy to pick some up and use them temporarily, and I'm sure I can use them for something else, or my daughter can. So for £6 I was quite happy. So the next thing that I've been working on, I know Andrea will be really pleased because it's one of her favourites. I Heart Cross Stitch. Is Creation. So this I'm classing as my biblical piece. It is a biblical piece, but in my biblical segment I've got quite a few patterns that are biblical, so, and I want to get around to working on them, so I've decided, and the way I've changed my rotation, that they're going to be coming to the forefront regularly as opposed to focus piece monthly. So, Tempting Tangles, Creation. And this is one of those pieces that you can work on it and sometimes it doesn't show. I haven't worked on it lots, but I've made the queue snap loose, but basically I'm slowly getting there and filling in the sun. This is quite confetti heavy area, which is why it takes so long. And the segment, and God said, basically I've got set up here and I've got to finish some of these sun tendrils, and then I've only got 2 more segments left, because this is actually the end of the pattern, as you can see, because it's got a border here. So I've got 2 more segments left. A bit more, it carries on full coverage confetti sort of to about here, and then it, although there's still a lot of stitching to do, but it opens up a little bit, and then I think you get to about here and it gets a bit denser again. So again, just chipping away at it. So this is an extract from the Book of Genesis, and this is my oldest whip and one of my favourites. I love it, absolutely love it. So my focus seasonal piece, as you know, with the Kure Batikure, I've been trying to get those done. I've started autumn and been working on autumn. I'd already started winter. I'd finished summer. So this is the winter colourway. Although they look really raggedy when they've been in bobbins, which is why I'm changing them. So there's quite a lot of bright colours in there, really. And I haven't got too far with this one. This is on 40 count pearl grey, and that's where I'm at. So I'm slowly, I have worked on some more cyclamen. The borders on these are more intricate. The winter one has the most intricate border out of the gardens, so this will take me longer. I would have liked sort of a loose plan of getting one of these finished in a month, for 1 month, because obviously I'm working on this seasonally, so this is December, January, February, and I've not even completed December, but it is what it is. Because it's 40 count, I do use my magnifier to be able to see, and so especially if I've been at work all day, if my eyes are tired, it takes me even longer just to put in a couple of stitches. I still do it because, you know, chipping away at it slowly, but I think this will take me longer because it's on a smaller count, and the factor of being at work and doing long hours has been upsetting my eyes quite a bit, so it's not conducive. But that will still be worked on right up until the end of February. So, and that's the colourway. So it doesn't look particularly wintry there, but there are some nice blue colours and things. So that's that. So that's my progress on that so far. My next one, sorry. Thank you. The next one that I plan to work on, you're going to think I'm crazy due to my new rotation, is what I'm categorising as a BAP. So for those of you that are new to Flosstube, a BAP is a big project. Big bum project. I'm classing that, I mean, lots of people, that's going to vary per person. I mean, generally it is a bigger project. Bear in mind, I don't do Tilton crafts or Hades or full coverage. I don't do large full coverage pieces. There's other suppliers of full coverage companies as well. They're just two of the most popular ones that you'll see. I'm trying to think of the other. Scarlet Quince is another one. They're good. I do have one of their patents. I have Hade patents, not loads, because it's just not really me. But I would class that, being full coverage, I would class that as hold on a second. All right, Amy. Yeah. Daughter's off sick as well with the cold. The cold from hell, the death cold. Yeah, so I would class that as, what's saying, full coverage. Oh, so even if it fit on even if it was a Hade bookmark, being full coverage, that's a lot of stitching. For me, what I'm classing as not full coverage, what I'm classing as a big bum project, a BAP, what I'm classing as that is something that is over a fat quarter. So if it has to go over a fat quarter in size, then I'm classing that as a large project. But that, like I said, if you was interested, I'll talk about more of that in my rotation video, but if you was interested in that, the sort of things and criteria that I'm following, then that could vary depending on the sort of stitching that you do. So back to it then, my BAP and what I'll be stitching on, or starting. I haven't started it yet. It's like, I've bought the fabric, I've got the threads, I need to start it. It's just the thought of commitment. I have commitment issues, obviously. Is the 101 Alphabets by Rosewood Manor, Karen Kluber. It's beautiful. I really want to do it, but it's massive. It's 499 stitches square, which I think when I worked it out, if I was to stitch it on 36 count, which is what I intend to stitch it on, let's have a quick look. With a 2-inch border, that would be 32 inches of fabric by 32 inches of fabric. So, I have bought the fabric. I haven't cut the fabric to size yet, but I have bought the fabric. So, yeah, Edinburgh. I had a piece that just wasn't big enough, but yeah, this is in metric. This is a metre by 1 foot, 1m40. So it's a huge piece of fabric, basically. It's the sort of fabric that if Tracy P was looking at this video right now, she'd be wearing it. It's, I can't even, I'm wrestling with it now. It's huge. Oh, for goodness sake, Jim. So yeah, that's what I will be ironing this. Measuring it again, and then I'll be cutting it. Because if you think that I actually need more than that, oh, dearie me. And no, I have no intentions of finishing it this year. I haven't even started it yet. But that to me is what a BAP is. It's a big project. So it will get done when it's done. I don't even want to think about framing it, but I really like it. So as you can see, this is a book, near enough. That she splits up the project. I will be having to break with my own little tradition. I won't be able to start in the middle. Again, that's why measuring will be so important, because I certainly don't want to realise my fabric's too short. But there's actually 54 segments, and the way she's split it up is into 54 segments across this whole pattern. And as you often do get with a Rosewood Manor, there's some extra patterns and designs. She's bookmarks, welcome signs, really, really good. So I will be starting that. This will actually be my first Rosewood Manor. Might as well start at the deep end. I have quite a few Rosewood Manor patterns, but because of the way that I've worked my rotations in the past, based on themes and things like that, they've never come up, they've never been appropriate, and that's a shame, because I actually looked at all the Rosewood Manor patterns I have and think, no, I love them, I'd want to stitch that, and I'd hang that or put that here, and so I need to get on and get some started. Maybe not as big as this, but hey ho, if you don't get it started you won't get it finished. So 101 alphabets. I don't know when I'm going to start it. What I will say, as with the Nora Corbett that I'm about to show you, what I try to do is start a new, when it's a new piece and a new start, I try to do it when I've got a day off and I've got time to look at it, because for several reasons. I don't want to be starting a project where I'm half asleep, I've been at work all day, and then I discover that I've got it horribly wrong because I was too tired. So when it's a new start, it's a new start. Oh, nearly done myself in the face. I'd edit that out, but that's just going to be too funny. When it's a new start, I want to start it on a day off, so I know that I've got time to concentrate and double check. I don't like starting things. I know I've made quite a few starts, but I actually don't enjoy starting things. I like kitting it up, and I'm interested in, you know, if I'm doing any colour conversions and things. What I don't like doing is the actual initial stitches, because that's where you need to know you've got it right, otherwise it can go so horribly wrong. So that's why I'm not going to be doing that late at night, half asleep, because I've been at work all day. I'll be starting this when I know I've got time. I'll be cutting the fabric when I've spent lots of time. Maybe today. I don't know. Think about it. I've got a cold, so it might be affecting my brain. We'll have to think. So yes, anyway, that will be a new start. May even get to February and I've still not started it, but it'll get done. So, what I'd like your help with, please, is my Nora Corbett start, which I haven't started yet. This will be the first time in a couple of years. My New Year New Start was always a Nora Corbett, because I liked the idea of having, I like the pixies anyway, but I like the idea of having a smaller, like a pretty lady, rather than a big Mirabilia or a big lavender and laces, having a pretty lady to do, like to, I don't know, scratch that itch type thing. And that worked for me, as I will explain in another video. But now I've changed my rotation so that it's more themed based. It does mean that I started a few more things, but instead of it just being monthly focused, they'll be focused until they're finished, and then I can start again on the next thing that will fit that theme, is generally what I'm going to. So, this is what I want your help with. I have the Nora Corbett Angel White Trumpet Poison Pixie. Lovely looking lady, rather dangerous. And my intention is to stitch her on a hand dyed, of course, by Sparklies. And this one's called Rose Potpourri, and this is showing a bit brighter than it actually is. It's a little bit more muted than that, but the mottling is right. So let's have a look. That's what I'm going to be stitching her on. I think the mauvey pinks will pick up lovely with the aquas and the greens. As you know, I do like doing these particular ones on quite contrasting fabrics, if I can. They're my chance to play with colour. So, that's the first one. Rose Potpourri, White Trumpet Pixie. Or do I start, let's take that off. Nora Corbett's Bewitching Pixie. This is Zinnia. I know you've seen her before. And I will be stitching her on one of my favourite Sparklies fabrics, which is Winter Skies. So she'll be going on there. In regards to the Bewitching Pixies, I intend to stitch them on Winter Skies or Charcoal or all hand dyed by Sparklies. So there won't be that much colour variation when it comes to the Bewitching Pixies, the witches. Obviously these, the Nora Corbetts, I know this is part of the Poison Pixie range, but it's the Pixie Couture. I'll stitch that like the others, whatever I feel is the best fabric to go with those. So this is going to be open until the beginning of Feb. Again, I may not start it then, but that's when I'll do a tally. And what I'd like you to do for me, if you don't mind, is tell me which one to start. So I won't be starting either of these in January. I will wait and do a tally, and you can tell me which one you would like to see me start stitching as part of my Nora Corbett Pretty Ladies segment. So Rose Potpourri, Angel White Trumpet. So if you say Poison Pixie, that's fine. And if you say the Witch, because I'll know which one you mean, the Nora Corbett and Winter Skies. The Witch. So the Witch or the Pixie, the Poison Pixie. You decide. I like both of them, you know I do, so I'll quite happily pick. Happily stitch along to whatever one you decide. Last but not least, I actually nearly forgot this, and I've done quite well. The Gingerbread Village, which ended up being forgotten about, and then I was saying I'm not doing any more of the Little House Needlework sales or anything like that until I've got this one finished. I can't even remember which one I showed you in the other video, but I've slowly been chipping away at them. I try and do an hour on them when I pick them up and try and get them done, and you know what? This I've done all the houses, and this is my last one. I've actually gone through, I'm not sure how many from the video, but it's at least 4. It might even be more than that. So yeah, that's all that's left, and so this is where I am with that one. So it just shows you sometimes just doing that little chipping away at them, and it does get things done. So that's the gingerbread village. I have a plan on how to finish these, still not 100% sure. So we'll see. And then I think, oh, what about this idea? So let's get them finished first. So that is my January update, with what you're probably thinking for me is, oh gosh, she's got loads of new starts and she's lost her mind. And she's intending to do more and a huge project, and hopefully it will make a bit more sense in my rotation video, which I intend to do whenever I can. Which you might feel inspired to take something from, or even if you think to yourself, actually I know that wouldn't work for me, the more information you find out the better. So project bag, Vonner Pfeiffer Twisted Stitcher. Yeah, so that's what I'll be working on for the rest of the month and in February, and then there'll be a slight change, not a big change, but a slight change in March, where I'll change certain things out because of seasonal things. So I'll stitch more spring for 3 months, but things like, just as a heads up, the Nora Corbett, the BAP, Creation, they're fixed. I will work on them regularly. That's the hope. So, and the Gingerbread Village has inspired me to think, look, you know, you pick it up, you work on it a little bit, you chip away at it and it will get done. It's not because I don't want to work on the projects or anything, but with my new lifestyle and the amount of time I can dedicate, that's the way I'm looking at things a little bit more. It's made me want to start things because, like, for a fear of not ever being able to see what some of these things will look like with what I've envisioned that they'd look like, to use up some of my, to use up my stash. And also, you know, that little progress each time does get stuff done, so I don't want to waffle on too much. So the last bit of my video will be my sparklies fabrics. So this is my November fabric. I don't think I showed this to you. This is called Slightly Summer, and it is a nice blue. It's actually a little bit darker than what's shown on, but you can see the variegation, a bit more mottled, but it is a bit bluer. This would actually, I mean, this is called Summer Skies, or no, it's called Slightly Summer, and you can see that, you know, lots of white fluffy clouds and the blue. But equally, I think this would actually look quite good as a winter piece as well, because it'd be a bit frosty. That'd also look quite good. So that's a good one to have, mixed seasonal, to put in my stash. So that was November's fabric of the month, and December's fabric of the month from the Sparklies. Again, 32 count Belfast, 18 by 27, so a fat quarter, and it's Aquarius. And this is a, what is it? is a green, like a very, very light turquoisey blue. See, that's making it look more blue. But it's slightly greener than that as well. But yeah, so that's another really good fabric. I'm sure I can find something to put on that. Don't know where. Oh yeah, maybe. With the white. That's the sort of colour it is. Nice. Really nice. So, my lovely presents to myself every month, sparklies. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for watching. Happy New Year to you all. Hopefully I'll come with a bit more, trying my best. Cold, so I'm about to get my gym jams on and settle down with some stitching. I think is the best thing to do. So I hope you're all well. For those of us that in the community that are going for a really hard time at the moment, stay strong, and I, along with a lot of members of the community, are thinking of you. It's a new year and a new start and lots of new things. So sometimes they're not things that we want to have to deal with and do, but it's just know that you've got the support there and the support network, or at least be able to reach out, and I'm sure that we could help out and find ways of supporting if we couldn't do it ourselves. But yeah, so big hugs to everybody. I hope this year is happy and healthy for all of us, and I will speak to you very soon. Take care, Flosstube.